record this.
Come on, we
Last
on.
one.
Okay. Hello, and welcome to the Neil's Appeal, where we discuss marriage, relationships, and other stuff. We started a new series. It's called the WIDOWS series, and we had two widows to come and share their journey of healing with us. We had Miss Denise and Nikki, and so we want y'all to tune in. Just stay focused, please. The sound was bad. It was just a bad beginning, but it does get better.
Yeah, the sound, we apologize once again, for the sound being the way it was during the beginning, but we were able to fix it. And just stay tuned because the ladies poured their hearts out, and the information that they gave was very good information or what have you. It was just a joy to see them and their courageous explanation of what they had to go through and what they're still going through, actually. But they took time out of their schedules to share with us the widow's side. Just stay tuned. It was good info.
Yes, please stay to the end. We asked them two questions, so we're going to start right with them speaking because the echo was just so bad. So I cut myself completely out with asking the questions. But just to give you the context, I just want to tell you that the first question I was asking them, how are they able to still smile? We did a flyer, and their smile, their pictures were so pretty, bright, and just a big smile, like they just had not a care in the world. And so my question was, how are you able to smile still with your circumstances, right? That you're dealing with the loss of your husbands. And so that was the first question that they answered. And then the second question we asked, before they got into telling their stories, we let them both share something that, a funny memory of their husbands, right? Something that was maybe a pet peeve of the husband, or just something that the husband was just like, no, this is a deal breaker. We can't do this or we can't do that. And so they were able to share that and just give us a moment of just smiles, joy, and laughter as they had in remembrance their husbands. So y'all stay tuned. Watch to the end. Again, we apologize for the sound. Take care.
Thank you.
Go on, Nikki.
What makes me be able to smile is the memories that I have, right? Just to know how blessed I was with the time that I had, right? And that I'm still here, and I really haven't missed the beat, and God is still guiding my path. So that's something to smile about.
I am still able to smile because God gave me the opportunity to have an amazing journey with my husband. Every day wasn't good on the journey. It was the good, the bad, and the ugly, but it was our journey. And I thank God for that journey. So that allows me, and my faith in God allows me to be able to smile.
I love that. I love that. So to start us off, let's start with you first, Miss Denise. Share something with us that your husband probably liked for you to do or wanted you to do. Share something, a good memory, right? Smiling already. So whatever it is, that thought you got, go ahead on and share that before we get started.
My husband had an amazing personality. He called it in whatever he didn't have a filter. So whatever he thought, he would voice it and say it. And after we had been married, we were married for 38 years, but probably maybe around the third year or second year into our marriage, my husband made a phone call to my mother. And my mother had a tradition. Every Christmas, she would give me and my sister flannel pajamas for Christmas. So somewhere in about the second or third year in our marriage, my husband called my mother, and he said it in a loving, joking, but serious way. And he said, Miss Hannah, you need to start buying Niecy those flannel pajamas for Christmas. She's a grown woman now. And so I say that to say that he was just an amazing person. And sometimes his unfiltered voice would take you by surprise.
That's good. That's funny.
My mom laughed. She laughed. When he first heard it, I didn't know how she was going to take it, but she laughed. And she stopped buying flannel pajamas.
Okay. And Nick, for you, what was one of Steve's this a deal breaker? You can't do this, you can't do or whatever. Come on, give it to
Well, most people thought he was a really quiet guy. And to the public that was probably true, but at home he was just like me. Our personality is huge. His personality was huge. You know, we were pretty well matched on that. But you know how you know how you get your hair done and you be trying to keep your hair looking good. And he was like, what you doing? What is that on your head? It wasn't gonna work. It just was not going to work. He didn't like it. And I had been warned, you know how mothers tell you different things, and it was just a different era when my mama came through, but he did not want nothing on my head when I went to sleep. You know, he wanted me. He didn't even care if I didn't wash my makeup off. You know, he wanted me to go to sleep the way that I looked during the day, and that's what I did. I get up and curl my hair every single day, and I still do.
You don't wear it wrong.
Oh no, ma'am. Oh no, ma'am. No, ma'am. And I had some nice bobs. No, ma'am, didn't wrap none of that up. He wasn't like.
Wow. We got to get this. We got to get to this story.
Okay.
We're gonna do the best we can with what we got. We're gonna thrive even in this right now. So thank you, listeners, viewers, for trying to help us, but we can't figure it out. I don't know what it is. It was fine the other night. I don't know. It's I don't know. So I want to share. Mr. Nick, we're gonna start with you first. Can you tell us? Give us your story. What happened? We're gonna start with you, and I'm gonna pin you so we can keep all eyes on you.
All right. I'll start off by saying that there is a season for everything in your life. God did not intend for us to be here forever, and we're only here for a short time. So there's a season for everything. On July the 21st, 2023, I left work and came home, and I found my husband on the floor, deceased. And that changed my life from that point on. We had been married for 38 years, and it was very traumatizing to come home and find your loved one in the floor, deceased. My husband and I had spent the day before, he passed on a Tuesday. That Monday, I took off work. I rarely ever take off work unless it's in the schedule in advance for vacation or if I'm sick, but otherwise I'm at work. And I took off work that Monday, and God allowed me and my husband to spend the entire day together. We went out of town. We traveled to a city, probably maybe an hour and a half away from Raleigh, and we just had an amazing day. And the next day, he was gone. I talked to him probably around 10:30, 11 a.m. that day. My husband had retired and I was still working. And so he was home and he was out and about all day. He went to have his truck inspected, and he called me that morning after he had his truck inspected and said he was going to the grocery store. Well, he was actually in the grocery store when he called me. And he said they had yogurt on sale, and I love yogurt. And so he was asking me what flavors did I want him to buy. And I was telling him, don't get this flavor, don't get this flavor. And basically that was the last conversation I had with him. We said, I love you and I see you later on this evening. And little did I know that that was the last time I would speak with my husband. And it changed my life forever. He was an amazing person. He was my first love. I met my husband when I was in the 7th grade and he was in the 8th grade. And he was my first love. And we had 2 amazing daughters. And I miss him tremendously. I would say you never know when that last moment is going to happen. And I think reflecting back, I would say my advice would be to cherish every moment that you have with your loved ones, even the bad moments, the not so good moments, and you just have to work your way through them.
Wow. Thank you for sharing. So come on, Nick, you can share your story now.
So Steve and I met when I was 23. He was 25. He just graduated from Louisiana Tech, and I was working in the. He was working in the mall, so was I. But I didn't quite notice him. But you know, long story short, we met, got married in 2001, and we were married for 18 years. And Steve had diabetes. And in the later years of our marriage, he started to have some complications, you know, with diabetes, habit, being, kind of what comes with that. And if you're just being diagnosed with it, or if you don't know what it is, please, educate yourself and try to get on top of that. But he was in the hospital with some complications, and so he was supposed to come home for Thanksgiving. The doctors had said he was doing great. He was one of their best patients there. He was young. He played football from I think 5 or 9 years old through college. He tried out for the league, all that good stuff. Just a great athlete. And I think we kind of took for granted, that he was a good athlete and that his health. You think, why me? How? Right? But he was in the hospital, so his brother I had gone to sleep, and his brother, Everett, was ringing my doorbell. He let my garage door up. He was knocking on the door, and I couldn't hear any of it. It was just like in a deep sleep. And when I finally heard the doorbell, I went to the door. And Everett is if you know him, he's very jovial and he just cracks jokes all the time. Just hardly ever serious about anything. So I went to the door. He was walking back to his car, and I said, Everett. And he turned around and he said, you need to get to the hospital. And I said, are you serious? You know, like that, because Everett plays all the time. And he said, no, I'm serious. I could tell his demeanor. I said, what's wrong? I was like, oh God. So, hospital called me. I had a conversation with his parents. Come to find out, they found him unresponsive on the floor in his room. So the nurses had done rounds, right? He was doing fine. When they did the second set of rounds, they discovered him on the floor unresponsive. They believe that he was trying to go to the restroom. Like I said, he was supposed to come home. They did CPR for 20 minutes is what they told me, and that's a long time. So by the time I got the news, he wasn't responding to anything. So they asked me what I wanted to do. I didn't know what to do. I did not want to make that decision. You don't ever think about making that decision. To have someone's life in your hands. And they were calling me like, Ms. Roberts. And I'm like, just keep working on him. Just keep working on him. You know, I'm out of it, right? And I get the kids. I'm in the closet, first of all, talking to his parents on the phone because I didn't want my kids to know what was going on. They were looking forward to him coming home for Thanksgiving, but we had to get there. So I had to wake them up. I called my sister Yvette. She rushes to my house. We drive to the hospital, and they called me one last time. And they said, Miss Roberts. And I said, let him go. So by the time we walked through the double doors of the hospital, he was gone. And I had to tell my children that he was gone. You just don't think. I was 46, becoming a widow. Steve was 48. That's young to me. I know people have other stories, but in my story, that's young. And my whole world just flipped completely upside down. I had buried my oldest sister. I'm the youngest of 10. So my oldest sister, who's number 4, I had just buried my sister. She died 2 weeks before my husband. And she was like a mother figure. It was just nuts. I don't even have a better word to explain it. It's just insane. To have to do that and make that decision, it had to be God. Never thought I could do it. Didn't want to do it. But I didn't want to just for him to like be on a machine, just keeping them alive just for me, because he was gone from what they told me. Um, but yeah, that's how it happened. Um, and from there, you just have to start a new life. Um, it's very, very difficult. Um, never ever think. I always think you want to grow old, right? Um, grow old together. We had kids young, right? Young in our marriage. We didn't even make it a year before I got pregnant. So we had kids our whole marriage. And we were looking forward to just being empty nesters and starting all over again and dating and, just being able to be together. Because once you start having kids, like your whole world sometimes is just engulfed around them. But I'm thankful um, that I had 18 years. We dated for 4. I'm just thankful for the years that we were able to be together. And what I have come to understand and what I've come to tell my children is it was enough. That was enough time. Um, because God said it was, because God said it was enough. Whatever I needed from Him, whatever my children got from Him, God said it was enough. So that means that I can go on. That's how I
Thank
see
you.
it.
Um, Thank you both for sharing. Sorry for your loss, both of you. I say it every day. Every time we talk about it, it, you can't just go on without saying that. And I thank y'all for having the courage to come on and share with everyone. Um, I just want to ask this main question. So, both of you have a similar story in which your husband's passed away unexpectedly, right? Unexpected for us. God knew, but for us, unexpected. Miss Denise, you talked about how you took off the day before. You don't know why you did it, but you took off the day before y'all spent time. Nikki, you had been going to the hospital, you and the kids, you were home resting this time. So we don't know why things happen the way they do. But if you could tell us something, some of the adjustments that you've had to make, um, i.e., financial, house. Are you still in the same house? Like, let's start with you, Miss Denise. Tell us some of the adjustments that you've had to make.
Wow. Um, adjustments. Going from a two person in the household income to just one person's income. Um, there are that is a major adjustment. Your finances, you're used to um, combining the incomes to handle all of your financial needs. And sometimes in certain situations, when you lose some of the income and there is a gap, a lag in between the time when benefits or that you're entitled to as a widow, whatever those benefits may be, sometimes there's a lag in when you receive those benefits. So getting through that period, trying to handle everything yourself, it is a tremendous adjustment, huge adjustment. Um, Things within your household, like the lawn, the maintenance of the house. My husband took care of all of that. I've never pushed a lawnmower in my life. Don't know how to even operate a lawnmower. The bathroom toilet no longer works and you have to have a new toilet put in. Those are things that normally your spouse would take care of. And all of the maintenance and the upkeep of the house you have to do. And that initially when these things start happening, you're still grieving. And it's just difficult. You're in a position where your mindset, you're not even able to really comprehend or deal with the loss. You're still trying to deal with the pain from the loss and having to deal with all of these other issues. And you sometimes just shut it down and you tend not to want to deal with it, and you linger, and that can cause some complications further down the road. That was one of the things I experienced. I was just in a stuck mode, and there were things financially and things that I needed to deal with, but my mind just wasn't there. And, the mail would come, the bills would come, and I look at it and put it in a pile and say, I'll deal with it tomorrow. I can't deal with this today. So that's one of the things. Also, the loneliness. You no longer have your companion, their physical presence. I believe that I truly reconciled with the death of my husband, the fact that it was his time. I reconciled with that with God and accepted that. But even with accepting that, I missed his physical presence. Him not, you're laying in the bed and you roll over and you look and your spouse is not there. You used to them pulling up in the driveway, or you see a vehicle that looks like their vehicle and it's not him. So physically missing him, his presence physically, you miss. Even the arguments, when they get on your last nerve, I would give anything to have him here to get on my last nerve again. So.
Wow. Boy. Nick, tell us some of the adjustments that you've had to make.
Steve and I spent, goodness gracious, all of our time together, right? I mean, all of our time together, because he was my friend. He was my best friend. Even when I didn't like him, I liked him because he was my best friend. And that's who I talked to about everything, right? The job, what's going on. He did the same. We have 3 children. So I have a set of twins and I have a son. So when he was in the hospital, like you were saying, it wasn't a day that I did not go visit him. I got out work. I went to the hospital. I spent time with him. Kids got out of school. I went and picked them up, took them back to the hospital. We stayed until visiting hours were over. I mean, I would get so tired that when the nurses would come in to check on him, I would be in the bed, in that little bit hospital bed, sleeping beside him. I would be so tired. So we spent all of our time together. I didn't make a move without talking to him, just telling him, even when I was mad, hey, I'm stopping by such and such. I might not have wanted to talk to him, but I was letting him know, hey, I'm gonna be home late. same thing. I mean, we did it all. I mean, we did absolutely everything together. So the adjustment of, goodness gracious, who am I going to talk to? Who am I going? What's happening, right? Just like she said, financial thing is crazy. My kids were young enough to get SSI, right? And but because I am so young, I think I got it for a year. Seth got it until he was 18. The girls got it until they turned 18. So I guess in a regular world, when kids turn 18, that means that they're grown. So they cut all that off. It was like a whole second income, even though it was a percentage of what he was making. It was still a whole separate income. So now it's like, I gotta tell my kids that we got to cut back on some things, right? And that you gotta help mama. You gotta get a job. Never worked, didn't know how to fill out an application. I don't know how to do nothing, right? Just having to do that and think about my kids are having to grow up quickly like I did. And I didn't want that for my children. I lost my father at 13. My next sister was 18. And then my next sister, it was just three of us at home with my mom. My mom shut completely down. I see why. At the time, I didn't know. I didn't get it. I was like, I'm still here, right? I'm 13. Mama, I'm still here. I get it. But I didn't want to do that. So many changes. Goodness gracious. Like she was saying, my bills. I had to put all of my bills except my water bill. That's the only bill that's not on automatic pay. And still to this day, I will forget to pay my water bill. And the people at the water company, they know me because I forget to pay my water bill. And if they weren't on automatic pay, we'd probably be sitting in the dark. It's hard. It's you don't realize what a man does, right? Especially when especially, y'all excuse the towel. Especially when especially when he does things like she was saying, the lawn. Steve didn't really have time to cut the lawn, but we had somebody to come and cut the lawn, right? It wasn't a big expense. So I had to call the lawn man. No, I saw him at somebody's birthday party, and I had to walk over there to the lawn man. I spoke to him, and he was like, "Hey, you hadn't called me." And I had to tell him why. He was devastated. And he was like, "Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. I'll come cut it. Just let me know when you need the lawn cut." Like she said, I needed a new refrigerator. I don't know the best refrigerator to buy. Some things I do know, some things I don't know. And you're having to step into two roles. And I'm gonna tell you something. I don't like that. I don't like paying bills. I don't like getting on the phone with the bill collector. He did that stuff. I don't like it. I don't want to do it, but I have to do it. And now I depend on my son, and that's a lot of pressure. It's a lot of pressure. He's 21 now, and he wants to be 21. He can't sometimes because I need him. I need him. And I'd be so scared when he's out of my sight because he's all I got. That's my only son. And that's the only thing I got, you know, that I feel is close to his dad. And that's just a lot of pressure, you know. He grieved hard. Seth grieved hard. He's still grieving. We all are. But I could relate more to the girls because they were 13 too. But just driving to his football games with me and the girls, 3 women in the car on the road at night, going everywhere. Or Seth is going to school and I'm driving to the girls' basketball games by myself. Getting off work, tired, sleepy, it don't matter. It's just, my goodness. It's just a lot, man. It's just a lot that you realize that they did. I miss his presence as well. In my grief, when Steve passed away, I had to take down. I had to take down all his pictures. I wanted to move out of this home because I still see him where he sat. I did get a new bed. I had to. But ironically, I sleep on his side of the bed. I can't even sleep on my side of the bed. I sleep on where he slept. It doesn't even feel right to sleep on my side of the bed. I've tried. And I can't do it to save my life. Can't do it. Like she was saying, I have asthma, and Steve would do a lot of the cleaning with the products and stuff because I can't. Now I have to get Seth to do it. And when he's not here, I have to get the girls to do it because I can't really breathe all of those different chemicals and stuff. I didn't have to cook. Y'all think I learned how to cook? No. We eat out. I mean, it's just, oh my gosh, it's just, I'm just doing the best that I can. And that's all I can do. It's tough.
So I was going to ask, Nikki, you touched on it just briefly, right quick, when you said I'm taking Steve's pictures down and stuff. I was going to ask, are y'all both in the house? Miss Denise, you came home and found your husband. Steve was there, right? Nikki, y'all are both still in the house, and I was going to ask, how is that still being there? Did you ever feel like you needed to just move and get out of there? And Nikki just answered, Miss Denise, you touch on that, and then I'm gonna come back to you, Nick, on that 13. But I have a question about the fact that both of y'all were 13 with your losses. But Miss Denise, you're still in the house where you're correct?
We've been here in our home for over 30 years. And I've had a lot of friends and family to say, you should move, you should go to a new place, get a new start, start over your life in a new place. And I am appalled at that because this is home. This was my husband's home. And although I found him deceased here, this is where I feel most comforted, is at home. And I've had people to tell me you should take down your pictures of him, put the pictures away, and absolutely not. I come in, I have a picture of him that I keep in the bedroom. When I come in and I come in my bedroom, the first thing I do is pick up that picture and kiss it. I I just feel comforted and at home, and I feel like his presence is all around me, and it's a good feeling. It's not a depressing feeling. It's a good feeling. So um, I I can't even imagine moving away from my home. Um, Perhaps at some point in time, I don't know if what I'm feeling is still a part of the grieving, but I'm not sad. I'm not saddened when I come into my house. I feel comforted. I feel just comforted. But maybe that'll change down the road. I don't know. But it doesn't make me sad. There's no other place I would rather be. This was our home. This is home.
Thank you. Nick, you can respond about the house thing if you want to add some more stuff about the house. But in that response, I also wanted to just point out, you said you were 13 when your father passed away. The girls were 13. You said your mom, like you just were like, hello, I'm still here, I'm still here. It's just like you would have never thought that the same thing would have happened, and how, to your girls, what happened to you. And just the fact that you were self-aware enough to say, I don't want my girls to go through that, what you went through, like being able to get up the courage, get up the strength to, like you said, you were talking in a closet. You know what I'm saying? When you first got the news, and just, I don't know if, had you not gone through that, would you have been able to have been there like you needed to for your girls? Because listen, you'll shut down. I already know you will shut down. I know that from being your friend, you will shut down. And so it's just, I just see the awesomeness of God in that. Although I know it hurt you dearly to lose your father at such a young age, I don't know if you could have been able to stand in the shoes that you stand when it happened, turned around and happened to your kids again. So if you want to speak on the house and speak on that, then I'm going to say.
Being here, being home, or where I live, I don't know. It's just my personality. It's like I come in, I just be like, dang. I just be like, God, oh, he's not here. It's still unbelievable. I had to take his pictures down. It doesn't make me sad. It just makes me miss him more. It just makes my heart hurt. Makes my heart hurt. And for me to be able to function for them, that's the best coping mechanism that I have. Before his service, I had to get his clothes out of my closet. I could smell him. He was just everywhere. And I just couldn't function. Just couldn't do it. I put him in the attic. I didn't throw him away, but I had to get him out of my house. The funeral home, they present you with this big old picture. I gave it to my in-laws. I just couldn't do it. I just couldn't do it. It just hurt a lot. I didn't do very well after Steve passed away. And even during the time, and I have to give flowers to my sister Yvette, because when my dad passed away, Yvette had to grow up really, really fast and just jump into the shoes of my mom, because my mom shut down. She shut completely down. I was in junior high school. I had one sister that was a senior in high school, and Yvette was in college. And Yvette had to get a job. You know, she couldn't go. She couldn't go to college like she wanted to at that time. So when it happened to me, she jumped right in. She took care of everything. Um, that's who you were talking to, because I couldn't talk to you. You helped me out a lot as well. You came and spent 3 weeks with me, and just with my sister losing her sister and then having to step in to help her other sister after a loss of her husband was a lot. And I thank her for that, because I don't know what I would do. When you got here, I think y'all were running tandem, right? I guess a lot of it I don't remember. But I know that you were in a different place in Texas, and you didn't know where to go. You didn't know anything about where I live, but you were making sure those kids got to school, and you were cooking, and you were cleaning, and you were doing everything. You guys both were, and I just want to give you guys y'all's flowers, because you're right. And you do know me. We've been friends for, goodness gracious, 15, 20 years. And I will lose it. But to answer your question, no, there is no way that I would be able to take care of my children if it hadn't happened to me at 13. I used to pray that my kids did not go through that. So when Seth had his 13th birthday, I was like, oh, cool, we made it. And then I said, Lord, please, Jesus, I got 2 more. If we can get past 13, we're going to be okay. And we didn't make it. So I was a little angry about that. I was angry about that because I prayed hard. I did not want them to have to go through what I went through. But there's no way. I just tried to do the opposite of what my mom did, and also understand what she was going through. My mom was the only child, so she didn't have anybody but the 3 of us that were at home. That's it. Of course, my other siblings, of course, they did what they could, but they didn't live with her. We did. We were there 24/7. It was a deafening silence then, and it was a worse, even a deeper, haunting silence when it happened to me. Just, I can't even describe the loneliness, but I had to try to get myself together because they had to go back to school. When it happened to me, we missed, oh goodness, over a month of school. The principal had to come to our home and tell my mother that we got to go back to school. We didn't want to go. I didn't want to go. But I didn't want my kids to be like that. So I just had to get myself together as much as I could. Because what I realized, me going through it at 13, was that my little life was still going on. And I felt like she had forgotten that I had just made cheerleader in junior high school. And my dad was sick when I made cheerleader. I didn't cheer at one game. Not one. And I didn't want them to go through that. So whatever they were involved in, I went 100%. We went to every football game Seth had, everything he had. We had every school color you can think of. I was just trying to be supportive, and I did them the same way. I didn't mind my life stopping. Because I wanted my life to stop. I wanted my life to end. But I couldn't do that to them. So that was in an eerie type of way. That was my blueprint. I saw my mother go through the same thing. She was in her early 50s. I was 46. And I said, you got to get it together because you know how you felt. It ain't nothing but the Lord. I prayed for peace because I felt like I didn't need no more strength. Goodness gracious, how much stronger do you want me to be? I don't want to be any stronger. Lord, grant me the peace that surpasses all understanding. And he did.
Wow. So y'all both, thank y'all again. Just thank y'all again. Goodness gracious. Y'all both spoke of when I asked you, how can you smile? You know, you, Nikki, you said, you had to tell the girls it was enough. Like, that was huge to say what we had was enough because God, in his sovereignty, whatever God says, right? So that's huge. Sounds like you're submitting your will, to his, right? And then, Denise, you mentioned the Lord well too. But when that thing was happening and you were going right in it, Nick, you touched on anger a little bit as an emotion. Where were you angry with God, or were you angry at the situation? Or let's touch on that, and then we'll begin to wrap up because it's been well spent, and I appreciate y'all. But touch on the emotions that because you're speaking from a place where you sound like you both know God right now. You understand how you've been making it through. So speak on that emotions and those feelings towards you. Was your faith affected? And who's going to go first so I can do the Miss Denise?
I think, well, I don't think, I know that at this stage in my life, I'm 66 years old. I've experienced a lot of different things in life. And I've experienced a lot of death. But nothing can prepare you for the death of your spouse. But my faith in God, my faith in God has been what is keeping me. I believe, Nikki, had I been younger and lost my husband, I think I probably would have lost my mind. But God is keeping me. And I pray, and I have my moments, and I allow myself to have my moments. And Nikki, as I told you, when I have my moments, what I practice is I allow myself to have my moments. I may cry and just boohoo and cry and cry and cry, but I can't allow myself to stay in that moment. I have to come out of it. And what brings me out of it is quoting the scripture or just talking to God in the midst of my outpouring. And it brings me out of it. And I know God is keeping me. It was my husband's time. And I just thank God for the time that I had with him. And that is what keeps me going. And then I know my husband would not want me. He absolutely would not want me here just boo-hooing and crying and being down, and not, he would want me to go on with my life. And so I just thank God for his presence. I thank God for keeping me. I thank God for the wonderful years that he gave me with my husband. And I hurt, but I'm at peace. I don't even understand it, because I do understand it. It's God. Because if I take him out of it and and just step back and just look at me, I'm like, I don't know how why I haven't just fallen apart, but God is keeping me. It's like he's making me stronger through this for some reason. I don't know. But it's God. I just give him all the credit. I miss my husband tremendously. And Kelly, I shared with you that sometimes I would have this feeling a lot when my husband first passed. I didn't want to die, but I just wanted to be with him. I was like, wherever you are, that's where I want to be. But then you think deeper on it. I'm like, no, I'm not saying I want to die. I don't think I was suicidal, wanted to do anything to myself. I just wanted to physically be with him wherever he was. But, my faith in God keeps reminding me that to be absent from the body is to be present with the Lord. And that's where my husband is. And I'm still here. It was my husband's time. It's not my time yet. And so I have to keep going and keep holding on to the Lord. That's what's keeping me from losing my mind. And I look at myself and I don't understand. Well, I do understand. I know it's God. But yeah, I understand, Nikki, where you are. I understand that.
I don't think I got angry with God, but I didn't like going to church. And I was born and raised in the church. And and like Miss Denise said, that just having that understanding, and the maturity in God is what keeps you going. But I'm gonna tell you that fleshly side, no, I didn't want to go to church. That was the first time that I realized church is all about death. Every sermon, every song, everything about church is about death. And it just kept reminding me over and over and over that he wasn't here, over and over and over that he was gone, over and over that I'm a widow, over and over that my kids don't have it. I mean, I just didn't like going to church. I didn't want to go. I went. Only reason that I went, it wasn't because I was rooted and grounded in the Lord, even though, I feel that I am. But the only reason that I went is because my mama didn't stop, right? That example again. She didn't stop. And I'm saying, how could she not? Right? And then I look at my kids. Okay, well, I have to be an example for them where they can just know to keep going and to keep going and to keep going. And my son didn't like going. He and I felt the same way. But I don't think I was mad at God. Just didn't want to go to church. I didn't want to have to be reminded of that every Sunday, every Wednesday. So I just I got on the media team, threw myself into something that would keep me busy, even though I'm sitting in service, until I got to a point where I could actually listen to a sermon again. I was working. I was at a job. I'm making sure that the slides right and all this kind of stuff. I don't know if it makes sense, but that's what I had to do to keep myself going to church. Uh, I I see death different now. I see it different. Um, I I wanted to go. I was suicidal, definitely, completely. I just didn't want to be here. It's just too hard. It's just too hard. And I know my mind says, I mean, I got 5 sisters. They're gonna take care of the kids. You know, they'll have money, to raise them, stuff like that. I was in a really dark place, a really, really dark place. When you came to stay with me, I was in a dark place. Um, and I was. You know that I was. You didn't seem like you were worried, Kel, but I think that you were. Uh, and I don't know what we were talking about or what I was rambling. I have no idea. But I know, because you know me, that I was in a really dark place. Um, it still gets dark. There's not a day that goes by that I don't talk about him or mention him or think about him. A song will come on, and again, I just be like, God, my daughter, Ryan, comes in my room, and every now and then she'll talk about her dad, and she'll say, Mama, me and Daddy used to sing songs to each other all the time. I didn't know that. I had no idea that was their relationship. And she was like, when a new song would come out, I would send it to Dad, and he would listen to it and he would like it. And I didn't know that. I knew he and Reagan had a real good relationship because she was the only one that could make him do anything when I couldn't. She could tell him what to do and he would do it. It didn't matter how old she was. And she would talk to him. She would tell him about his stuff, right? He and Seth were just good friends. I mean, when I would go sing and Seth was the only kid, they would have camp outs and, stuff like that. Just guy stuff without me. So I was worried about them, and I was worried about myself. So I just had to keep going. I didn't get upset with God, but it took me a long time to like church again. It just took me a long time to just be like, okay, all right, this is what we doing again today. Okay. And just not getting up and walking out. So it helped. It helps. It does help to keep going to church. It does help to keep going. Grief will never go away. It's not going to go away. It doesn't get lighter. It Time just passes and you get more mature. You kind of start understanding death a little bit more. And that's all I could say. I went to therapy. I went to therapy. It didn't work. I don't know if I was receptive or if I was just smart, because the stuff that she was telling me to do, I was already working on it, right? I know how to think positive because I'm very self-aware of myself and my emotions and my feelings. So you could feel yourself going to that dark place. And like we were talking the other day, you want to stay there. When you go to the dark place, you don't want to come out. That's you comfortable. I was comfortable in that dark place. I liked it there. It was sort of familiar in a weird way. But she really didn't help me. She really didn't help me. But my son went, and I think she gave him some tools to help him. Um, but no, I know God. I know him. I know he knows what he's doing. So no. Now I fell out with God when my daddy died. Because I was 13, I didn't understand. Now we fell out when my daddy died. But when this happened to me, no, I didn't fall out with him. I just didn't want to go to church. If that makes sense.
Listen, I want to thank y'all both for y'all's transparency. It's helpful, very, very helpful. My final question of the evening is, are you open to getting back out there and dating? Is there some sort of guilt you may feel? What are the emotions there? Or are you open? Are you trying? Are you content where you are? Let's close with that question, and then we'll jump into the Neil's appeal that we want to help. Just relationships flow, right? We'll jump into that last, but Miss Denise, you go first. Are you dating? Thinking of dating? Let us know your thoughts.
I am not dating. I am open to dating, but I have absolutely no desire for anyone other than my husband. And perhaps over time that will change. But I just feel like they would have a hard shoes to fill. And I've been with my husband. I met him when I was in the 7th grade. We dated all through high school. So he's been in my life all my life. And at this point in stage, I'm not ready to date anyone right now. I just simply don't have a desire. I know companionship is good, but I'm not ready for I'm not ready. Perhaps down the road sometime, but right now I'm okay. I'm okay right now.
And you, Nick?
Steve passed away in 2019, so November 29th. Thanksgiving was the 28th, so he passed away the day after Thanksgiving. So it's been 5 years for me. I'm still in love with Steve. If I dated someone, I don't think I want to get married. I don't know. I don't think I want to get married. I'm set. I think I'm set in my ways. But if I did date someone, stop, Fred. If I did date someone, I really need somebody that's really, really, really understanding, because he's gonna have to understand that I love my husband, and not be intimidated by that or jealous of that or have some type of an ego towards that, because that just is what it is. So if anybody is coming my way, the Lord gonna have to send them, and they're gonna really have to be very understanding, because losing your spouse isn't like we got divorced. Like, I'm tired of him and I don't want to be with him no more. I wasn't tired of him. He was taken away from me. So someone would have to understand that. I know that I'm still young. I do miss going out. I miss it. But I just don't know. My kids tell me that I need to find a friend. You know, Mom, you need to do something. And I did the same thing with my mom. Because on the outside looking in, it seems like, man, you're just wasting away, Mom. You ain't doing nothing. You don't want to go nowhere. You know. But she was content. She didn't remarry. I don't think I'm opposed to it. I don't even know. I don't know, but I know that I miss things. I know that I miss companionship, and but they would have to be very, very understanding and mature, you know. So,
Well, thank y'all for sharing. Fred, do you have anything?
Yeah, I just want to conclude with, and we apologize those all that are listening, for the technical difficulties. I feel at fault for whatever reason. Just perfect kind of guy when it comes to sound stuff or whatever. But I mean, I've heard both stories, and I just knew God, and I know God. Listen to your stories was in the midst of both stories. Miss Denise, you referred to never taking off for work and things like that, and the day before, your husband passed away, y'all spent that whole day together. That was God. I mean, he put you at that place at that particular time, and I mean, you could have been born in some other time, but he put you in this time. He put you in that time, and he prepared you for spending that time, that last day with your husband. You came home the next day. I mean, that's just amazing. And Nikki, I mean, it's no coincidence. You know what I'm saying? Everybody talks about this coincidence and all this stuff, and it was by mishaps. But nothing's by mishaps. God has control of any and everything that would have you to go through what you went through at the age of 13. I mean, he was preparing you for this moment, 5 years ago. And it's amazing to me. God's so amazing. He's a miracle worker. He's still working in all of our lives. And we're so thankful for both of you all in time with us. And Mr. Niche, yours is more recent than Nikki's. And you just both had different views on how you dealt with things. And Mr. Niche may be, you're mature right now. Of course, you handle things a little bit differently than Nikki did, and, which is understood. But both you guys obviously have a foundation in the Lord, and I think that probably, well, not probably, and I think that has brought you guys to this moment, to share others, your experiences, and just prayerful to God, and He'll continue to just lead you both and guide you both. And Nikki, you're right; it's gonna take a special somebody to to come into your life, and the Lord will definitely have to hand walk him to you. I know you. I know you too much, Miss Denise. I mean, you're a beautiful person. I mean, I don't know you like I know this one. She's like a big sister. One of the sisters that that I do have a baby sister. She's like a bigger sister, what have you. So we have that relationship. But just blessings to you both, and you guys. I'm sure you've been a blessing to the audience and all those that are listening tonight.
I know that I have most certainly gained some profound insight from y'all sharing your experiences and your reflections. And we always end the podcast with the Neil's appeal, right? What are we going to appeal to viewers to, you all reflected tonight, you all shared your story, your experiences. And so I know I heard quality time off of Miss Denise's story, right? The fact like Fred said, it wasn't a coincidence that you took off the day before. That wasn't a coincidence. And what did you share with our viewers? Something that they can go home with, be working on, just not so much in preparation, but just something that can help individuals, married, single, whatever. Get your stuff in order, whatever. So y'all share with us like a practical, tactical thing we can actually be working on as individuals, couples, what have you.
Can you hear me?
Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, I would say work on communication. That's goodness gracious, that's the key to any relationship. That's the key to mine and your relationship, mine and Fred's relationship. Anybody really that I come in contact with. If you are not a communicator, try, because at the end of the day, the relationship is part of what you look back on, right? You're going to want more good days than bad, right? And I can say that I had more good days than bad. Now, when it was bad, but we had more good, we had more good days than bad. I wouldn't trade being single over being married any day, never. So work on that. Work on communication and just letting stuff go. I mean, forgiving, because forgiveness is for us. It's not for the other person. Just let it go. I don't think there's anything that that you can't get through, without communication. Don't In a marriage, let me tell you something. In a marriage, and if you're single looking for someone, you got to have some vulnerability with the other person. So you can't have no ego, you can't have no jealousy, you can't have y'all know those are demons, right? You can't have them demons in your life, because that's what they are. Envy, all that type of stuff, with your person. You just can't do it. If you have a best friend and you got that, she's not going to want to be your best friend, or he's not going to want to be your best friend, or you hiding stuff, lying. Nobody want to be around that. Just talk about it. Be honest about it. I shoot from the hip a lot. I could be blatantly honest. I'm working on learning how to hold back. I'm working on that. But if you ask me, I'm usually gonna tell you. So, talk about it. There should not be a conversation that you can't have. The hard ones, the good ones, the uncomfortable conversations, because you got to let the other person get some type of understanding. Let me tell you something. If you let that other person assume, that means whatever they think in their mind is what's happening. And 9 times out of 10, an assumption isn't the truth. I don't want you to assume about me. I want to tell you what's going on with me. I would just say, learn how to communicate and learn how to forgive.
Miss Denise.
Okay. So for me, love and total commitment, as God wants us to love him and be totally committed to him. In a marriage, your marriage is not going to work if you are not totally committed to going through the good, the bad, and the ugly. You got to love and work through your issues, even when they're bad, even when you don't want to. You have to love your spouse, even when they are not doing loving and kind things to you. You still have to love them. And in all things, you have to take it to the Lord in prayer. Nikki, I shared with you that during my 38 years of marriage, the earlier years when things weren't where you're still learning each other and you're trying to find that balance. We would have some horrible arguments, say ugly things to each other, do ugly things to one another. And what I found was that whenever I felt I wasn't being treated, I wasn't being treated right. There were times where I wasn't treated the way I should have been treated. And there were times when I didn't treat my husband the way I should have treated him. But what I learned was during those times when we would have those ugly knockout arguments, if I would be combative and go back at my husband and all you're doing is going back and forth, it would just blow up into something so ugly and so just ugly. What I learned over the years was that when my husband would come to me in a way that I saw as insulting, instead of me going back on him, I learned to just step away, go into my closet, wherever that may be, in the bathroom, in the bedroom, and just talk to the Lord and say, God, I can't do anything about this man's attitude. If anything, I want to hurt him right now, or I would just go in my closet and talk to God. And I would talk to him just like I'm talking to you now. And when I finish my prayer and talk with God and come out, every time, it never failed. My husband would come to me. It may not be right at that moment. It might be the next day. We slept all night and didn't speak to one another. But he would come to me and say, I'm sorry. I apologize. I didn't mean to. But when I didn't go to the Lord, and we're human, somebody can say something to you and catch you off guard, and you go back at them and you're going back and forth. But every time I took it to the Lord and chose not to respond right then, to step away from it and take it to the Lord, oh my gosh, God just worked that thing out. He just moved and touched my husband in such a way that it would almost just shock me. And so I just learned to start taking things to the Lord in prayer. Just step away from it. And he'll work it out. He'll do it every time.
Thank y'all again so much. I'm going to read a couple of the things, comments in the chat. Chat's been going off all night. It's about 68 comments, but I can only see a little bit. Maurice Schofield says, work on communication, forgiveness. Mitch says, powerful. Brother Johnny says, amen. Love and total commitment. Then we got love and totally committed. They like that one. Sister Ira says, assumptions are not truth. So communication is the key. Step away from it and take it to God in prayer. And then there were some others too up above that says, sorry for your loss. We thank y'all so much for sharing. Thank you for your courage. They were definitely encouraged. So I just want to thank you all for coming on again tonight, taking time out your schedule. Sorry about, like Fred said, the little echo thing. It happened the other night when we met, and all of a sudden tonight. So I really was just like, I don't know, it's the devil. We be putting everything on the devil. But Fred, were you encouraged tonight?
Most definitely. I express my condolences again to the ladies for having, but I'm certainly encouraged, and this is goes to show you that you shouldn't take life for granted. You shouldn't take each other for granted. You shouldn't take family for granted. This not only affects the marital, the single. It affects everybody in life in general, what have you. So the gist of it, I mean, both the ladies have a spiritual foundation, and without that foundation, and a lot of this stuff would be shaky.
Yep.
So.
And I also got from it resolving conflicts quickly, because we just never know. we're going to have conflicts, resolve them quickly, you know? So I love y'all. I'm so thankful and grateful for y'all. We got another 2 more widows we want to talk to with a different story. And then after that, we're going to actually talk to some widowers. You know, men don't be talking, but I found me 1 or 2 that would be comfortable coming and sharing. And so want to be there to support both the widows and the widowers. We love y'all. We thank you so much again. Anything else y'all want to say before we go?
I just hope that I didn't know, you know, what I was going to do with my new life, or what it meant. But this platform has really helped me. It's actually helped me just to talk to y'all about it, and you guys just to listen, or or know my story. So if I have helped anyone, that's enough.
Thank you. Miss Denise, you good?
Oh, I just want to say thank you so much, because when you first asked me, I was a little bit reluctant, but I think this is just being able to talk about it and to share, and then to listen to Nikki and listen to her experiences and how we deal with our loss has been very helpful to me. And I hope that what Nikki and I have shared, that we have helped someone, and that they will be able to deal with loss, because at some point in time you are going to lose your loved ones, or it's just something we are going to experience, and being able to share and talk about it helps a lot. So thank you so much, and thank you, Nikki, for sharing, and thank the both of you.
Love y'all. We're going to say good night. Y'all wave bye to the people. Love y'all. Good night.